You're very welcome back. Now, a new report published by Voice Ireland has shown that what really happens to our clothes after we've discarded them. Just 26% of what we donate is actually reused, with most items disappearing into the global black hole.
If you work in a charity shop, we'd love to hear from you today. 0896 111 111. To break down the truth behind our clothing banks is Solène Scherer, Project Manager with Voice Ireland. It's so lovely to have you here because I think at this stage we've all seen these massive clothing dumps that are going to African countries, and it's so horrible to see. But say someone's going to donate clothes and they haven't gone to a shop, they've gone to one of those clothing banks. Yeah. What happens?
Well, that's the thing, is that it's very different from those clothing banks to charity shops, because charity shops are charity run, but the clothing banks are private companies that just collect the clothes and usually just bail them out, and they're sent either to Europe to being sorted or directly outside of the EU into African countries or Asian countries, where that's where, you know, the transparency is limited and we don't really know what happens a lot of the time. So that's why we started this investigation, to try and sort of see the journey, and if we could sort of identify a bit more what was the fate at the end of the day.
And what did you find?
Well, we found that it's basically the Irish market is heavily relying on exports. 95% of all the clothes, so 23 items that we tracked, were exported outside of Ireland. Only one stayed within the island, and 60% were exported outside of the EU, with, you know, 12 different destinations across the globe, like Pakistan, Libya, Ghana, you know, all these places. And it was really heartbreaking to see that even if we did have the locations, we still weren't able to always know what happens for 56% of those clothing.
So tracking these clothes from the clothing bank, when they get to a country like Ghana or Pakistan, you don't know what happens to them then? You don't know if they're just going into landfill or if they're actually being used for something?
Well, some of them were able to identify as reused, either because they entered like a residential area, or we could even sometimes trace to a second-hand clothes shop.
How did you track them?
We tracked them using air tags, you know,
so
like
you just put an air tag on them.
Yeah, we sewed them in, and then every week we would like check like where they were, and usually loads of them would go to sorting areas in Poland. This is a big hub for sorting, and then they would be exported outside of the EU. But some of them, especially the ones in the clothing banks, they would be exported outside of the EU right away after going to Northern Ireland. So we were able to know for some of them, but a lot of them still were sort of unclear.
Because sometimes you look at these, you know, when you're watching documentaries, some clothes are taken and they're brought to these hubs in like Italy where they are reused, like, but that has to be very high quality. And these days, I was in a shop the other day and there was a pair of like leggings, like women's training leggings. They were 220 quid and they were 78% polyester. That's just plastic. And the rest, I think, was viscose. So it's just plastic. And what happens to all those clothes after? Like, can they be made into anything else?
No, that's the main issue, is that nowadays most of our clothing, as you say, are made of like synthetic fibers derived of fossil fuels. And so it's extremely hard to recycle. There's no way to recycle it properly or, you know, discard of it safely. And so that's also been shown in our investigation, is that the items that were reused were of good composition. They were 100% cotton. They were, you know, men's shirts, jeans, really good items that have value on the market. But a lot of what we buy nowadays wouldn't have value for anybody in the second-hand market.
And we're doing this and we're putting them into clothes banks thinking that good things are happening. And then we're seeing these pictures like we've seen of these landfills and these like beaching in, where was
Ghana,
it? Ghana and stuff.
Really...
Like, to have a look at these pictures, I mean, it's just incredible that this is still happening. And we're thinking we're doing good by doing this. So should we not be putting our stuff in clothes banks? Should we make an effort just to go to the charity shops?
As much as possible, because it's better to
Look at that.
to try and go for local reuse as much as possible. But it is true that these markets have been going on, secondhand market for 40 years, and that was genuine reuse even in Ghana. But it's because now they're receiving a lot of waste in those bales that the problem is growing.
Yeah. So I think it's quite interesting for people who work in charity shops. They're getting a lot of crap now. They're like, we can't resell it on. So Ireland has the highest textile consumption per capita.
Yes.
In the EU. Break that down for us. What does that... We're buying the most clothes.
Yes, we're buying and discarding the most clothes every year. So we're, I think, buying about 56 kilograms per person and discarding 35. And the EU average is
this just
about
cheap
half
clothing?
of that.
This is disposable clothing, what you would call it.
The EU average is half of that.
Yes.
56 kilos of clothing per person is what we're buying a year.
Yes.
Holy God, that's mad. That is really mad. So what do you think needs to be done?
Well, there's loads of different things that need to happen at this very, level of the collectors and sorters. There's need to be better transparency and actual legislation that will put harmonized rules around how much they can collect, how much they sort, how they sort it and how they export it. We need to have data around that and make sure that we have rules around it. And then there's a more systemic approach where we need to tackle fast fashion, business models.
Buy less, but buy better and use it more.
Absolutely.
Try and use it more. Buy better clothes.
Yeah.
Use them more often.
Honestly, what are you meant to do when Shein, who just opened in this ancient place, this gorgeous shopping centre in Paris, there was such protest against it that some of the retailers there moved out of this place. But this is the result. It was queues for hours and hours and hours. So they're creating hundreds of thousands of garments a week.
Yes.
In plastic.
The queues there to
that's
go
the
in?
queues to go into Shein.
Yeah. So that's it.
It's a rising tide.
Yeah, we also need legislation to sort of tackle these business models on volumes, because even though there are some shops that have those take-back schemes, and to some extent we've seen in the investigation that some of it is genuine efforts for reuse, but if you compare it to how much they're putting on the market yearly, it's about 2%, 3% they collect of what they put on the market. So it doesn't add up. So we need to have every, step of the chain that really does a systemic change.
Well, I suppose a Shein can open everywhere, Myrna. It's up to the individual to make their choices.
It is.
It is. It's up to the individual to make their choices. And if you have if you don't want to use and see what you're seeing there, and just landfills and horrible, and we are the most.
We all do it though.
We all do it. I know we all do it, but it's incredible to see that we're that far ahead here in this country than the rest of Europe.
It's called the Threads of Truth. You can find it online. It's Voice Ireland, where you tracked these clothes. It's incredibly interesting. So, Lynn Shearer, thank you so much for joining us today. We really do appreciate it.
Thank you.